when they won the Carolina when they won the championship. So I always found that kind of funny. But there's a couple of things while I was looking this up last night, and I was thinking to myself, Sidney Crosby is a better overall player than Alexander Ovechkin. Alexander Ovechkin's the greatest scorer the NHL has ever seen. But Sidney Crosby is the greatest, a better player overall. He's better 200-foot center. I mean, he's a center. Ovechkin's not. But he's a better 200-foot player. He's a better side-to-side player. He's a more creative player. He's a more gifted player around the net. Those are facts. Everybody would tell you that who plays this sport. Crosby is 9th all-time in points, 9th all-time in assists, and 16th all-time in goals. Pretty good. So watching that on display last night with a couple of goals and putting that in perspective made me really appreciate things even that much more, even though I've always liked him. I've always said he's a hell of a player. The other thing that I noticed while looking up those numbers, and eventually he'll easily top 15 by the time the season is over. He will be top 15 in goals because right now, just ahead of him is Dave Andreychuk. And that's just a couple of goals. He'll probably pass Brendan Shanahan shortly. I don't know how much longer he's going to play. Eventually, I don't know if he'll reach top 10. Because if he reaches top 10, you know who he has to pass, right? Steve Yzerman. I think we forget sometimes just how great of a player the Red Wings had in Steve Yzerman. Like, recently we were told Sergei Fedorov's jersey is going to be retired. Hallelujah. Finally, right? We're constantly told about the great players the Red Wings have had, whether it be Howe or Lindsay or Del Vecchio and the production line and all that stuff. And rightfully so. It's awesome that you have that type of history. But Steve Yzerman is 10th all time. I don't know if people remember this. He's 10th all time in goals, 692. Career was unbelievable. He was 10th all time in assists in National Hockey League history. And Steve Yzerman is 7th all time in points. Think about it. It goes Wayne Gretzky, Jaromir Jagr, Mark Messier, Gordie Howe, Ron Francis, Marcel Dion, and Steve Yzerman. The Oilers have 2 players in the top 10, top 7. The Red Wings have 2 players in the top 7. And, I mean, the Penguins have 3 players in the top 10. Jagr, Lemieux, and now Crosby. It's pretty awesome. Alexander Ovechkin is not top 10 in career points. He will be when all is said and done because he's going to pass Joe Sakic sometime this year. But he's not even top 10 yet in top points. Goals, yes. Points, no. Just wanted to bring that up because it was a fun watch for people who love hockey last night. Let me ask you a quick question. When Antonio Brown was playing at Central Michigan, did you think he was going to be an NFL player? Most people would say no. I remember having a conversation while we were calling Eastern Michigan, Rob Rubik and I. He was talking about Antonio Brown to Brock Gutierrez, former Lion, former Chippewa, currently does a really nice job as an analyst on CMU radio. And Brock said, I don't see him as a pro. Rubes looked at me and says, I think he is. I think he's cartoon fast. I think he's a really good player. I think he's an NFL player. Well, and Rubes will join us at 8:35. Well, Antonio Brown, as you well know, was a pro and a really good one for the most part until he lost his mind for 13 years, primarily in Pittsburgh. Went to New England, went to Tampa as well. Guy was a 7-time Pro Bowler, won a Super Bowl with Tampa, 4-time All-Pro. Hell of a player. I don't know if it's CTE. I'm not exactly sure what it is that has caused him to go off the rails, but he was arrested on an attempted murder charge stemming from a shooting in Miami. He was arrested while he was out of the country. And you're thinking about this, and you're thinking it's got to be CTE because some of the stuff that he's done. He was never like this before, and something has to, some study as the studies continue. Something has to be done about this dude who is completely lost his mind. But how far has somebody fallen from grace, what they were able to do, from what they were viewed as, for how good they were as a player? And he's not the only one, okay? And I'm not gonna try to claim that he's going to be the last one. But it's amazing to me the issues that he has dealt with, or the NFL has had to deal with regarding him. It seems like it's been a constant hurdle. I don't know if it's throwing furniture from a 14th floor apartment window, driving reckless in Pittsburgh. Remember when he live streamed the locker room after a playoff win? I think it was against Kansas City back in 2017. Mike Tomlin was pissed, and rightly so. The fine for excessive celebration, whatever. Who cares? But doing stuff with an altercation with security at college football games, it's amazing to me how athletes feel entitled at times. And I shouldn't group them all together. That's not necessarily fair. But some of them. I remember going to a Lions Pittsburgh Steelers practice before they were playing the preseason game. I was calling the Lions and Steelers in a preseason game on TV. And I went to Latrobe. And I went there thinking, okay, we're going to go there and we're going to do some good interviews for television, because it was for the Lions and for, at the time, Fox Sports. And thinking, okay, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go there. I've got it all planned out who I'm going to talk to. I'm going to talk to certain people who are associated with the state of Michigan. Charlie Batch, for example, did an interview there. Did an interview with their general manager, who was with the Lions at one point. And I thought Antonio Brown would be a really good one. And being that I was a Chip and he's a Chip, maybe there's some synergy there. Maybe there is some collective love for one thing besides the game of football. And the Steelers, I worked through them and they were great. I said, so they set it up after a practice, and I went up to Antonio Brown, and he kind of had I don't want to read too much into it, but there was a glaze in his eye, like he was just wasn't there. Anyway, so I said to him, I said, hey, fellow Chip, fire up, right? And he just kind of looks at me, barely said anything. The interview might have lasted 2 minutes. Just was not engaging at all, didn't seem to care, and I could tell right away. And there's a couple of different ways you handle that. You could try your best to try and re-engage your subject and tell them, hey, man, everything's cool. I'll try to get the best out of him. Or you could just say, this isn't going anywhere. What's the point?
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, Shep, I remember
it's not a scene from Wedding Crashers. Wedding Crashers, where it's you lock it up. No, lock it up. It's not one of those. It's wrap it up.
I remember a primetime game where they do the intros, right? And they say what college they're from.
Yeah.
And it was a Steelers game, of course. And we were looking forward to him saying Central Michigan University, right? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
And he gets to him. He's like, Antonio Brown, Bowman University. Like, okay, dude.
What? He said
Bowman University.
Okay.
Business is booming. That was his thing for a while.
Okay. I was going to say, he didn't even go. His high school was Norland in Florida. So
yeah, it's not a real school, Shep.
Gotcha. Bowman University. Different cat, man. But here's what I do love about him. I mean, at 5'10", $180, $185, I love the fact that he beat the odds. It's hard to play like he played at that size. But, jacked, strong, fast, sure hands, He's a really good player. Really good player. You know, when you lead the at that size, when you lead the league twice in receptions, when you lead the league twice in yards, you lead the league twice in first downs, and lead the league once in touchdowns, you've done something. But he has seemingly, and maybe we've seen this for a while now, gone off the rails. Those problems, wow, it's incredible what's happening. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us sports radio to 21,000. Last night I went to an event. I tweeted out some pictures. Athletes Unlimited. You talk about inspiration. So you think things are bad sometimes in your life. And look, we all have problems. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how great your job is. I don't care what kind of car you drive or where you live. At times in your life, you're going to have problems. I'm not telling you shouldn't or we can't. And deal with them. Got him. You know, Trent had to deal with an accident this morning. I mean, somebody, got hurt. Somebody had an issue today. But sometimes it does take certain moments, certain people, certain events to bring you back to reality. And last night I was at an event at Top Golf for Athletes Unlimited. And it is a organization that helps those athletes who have been stricken at some point in their life and regulated to, a wheelchair or suffering from an inability to do something that they used to do as an able-bodied person. And I was sitting around talking with three guys who were looking forward to their hockey game coming up, their sled hockey, because they were in wheelchairs. And I found it fascinating in talking with them. Now, my nephew is relegated to a wheelchair. He was a state champion hockey player at Orchard Lake St. Mary's, played with Jeff Petrie there, actually, was captain of that team and had a skiing accident and was paralyzed from the breastbone down. Now he's in a wheelchair, does not let anything stand in his way. Plays sled hockey. He goes skiing to this day. He goes to bars. He goes to nightclubs. He does what he wants to do. He's not going to let it slow him down in life. Whereas a lot of people could sit in their wheelchair in the corner and say, woe is me, right? He is an inspiring young man, very successful in business. His wife is fantastic. And they really are. They're full of courage and inspiration for me every single day. Meeting a number of men and women last night, I felt the exact same way. It was a great event. I'm not going to tell people what to do with their money or where they should donate, but I hope you will consider that cause because a lot of it is really expensive. There was a young girl who was there with her mom. She was a massive hockey fan, and she had nowhere to go when she was relegated to a wheelchair, nowhere to go. And her mom helped develop a sled hockey league. And they became national champions. And it opened doors for her that perhaps she never would have had open before. Met Wayne Gretzky, skated with Vladimir Konstantinov, has met numerous people in the world of the sport she loves. And now she is able to do a lot of different things, including play tennis against able-bodied people at her high school. It was captivating to watch her tell her story. So the only thing I would say is when you think you got it bad, when you think you got it tough, and we all do at times, I'm not minimizing that, but every once in a while, think about those people because it really does jolt you back into coherence. And which is, by the way, a really good Seinfeld line, but jolt you back into coherence of, what you have at your disposal. Okay. So with that said, when we come back, we will dive back into the negative part of sports, a cringe-worthy moment. And I mean, to me, a cringe-worthy moment from what we considered a local athlete. But it really, he's got two of them. All right. As he uses this week to get ready for another game, a cringe-worthy moment from this player. I didn't see this coming. All right. I didn't see it coming. I don't know if you did or not, but it's bothersome. I don't get it. And I think it's kind of embarrassing. So we'll get to that, even though his teammates, of course, are going to back him. I think sometimes you have to prove yourself a little bit first and foremost. We'll see what happens. We'll get your reaction to it. The Meyer hotline is always open for you, 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. This is X's and Bros on a Ferris Coffee Friday. We're brought to you this hour by our good friend Mitch Lyons Wealth, MitchLyonsWealth.com. Stay with us.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Save a good deal more this holiday season with Meyer brand hot deals. Enjoy big savings with Meyer brand ingredients and make your festive Thanksgiving meal even better. Like cans of Meyer cut green beans for 49 cents each, Meyer turkey stuffing mix for 99 cents, cans of Meyer 100% pure pumpkin are just $1.09 each, and Meyer chicken broth is 69 cents. Shopping for holiday meal essentials is a good deal better at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
I know how much you love football, and I know how much you thirst for Lions talk. Hi, this is Matt Shepard. Every Friday morning on X's and Bros at 8:35, we will dive deep into the Lions, what went right, what went wrong, and what we can expect next. We call it What's Brewing with Lions analyst Rob Rubik, brought to you by Ferris Coffee. He's going to join me every week to break down the Lions and their opponent. What's Brewing with Rubes, brought to you by Ferris Coffee, every Friday morning at 8:35 on X's and Bros.
It's raining cash, cash, cash this November at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 4 guests each hour will score $500 cash. At 11 p.m. each Saturday, 2 lucky winners will each take home $10,000 cash. Then on November 29th, the excitement peaks. 2 guests will strike it rich with $30,000 cash each. A share of $200,000 in cash is calling your name. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDIThePizzaMan.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
One of the best arguments to get into.
Maybe you'll test it out this weekend.
I'm sure you've done it before. Get
Get together with some buddies.
I don't
I don't care if they're all college roommates.
What's up,
What's up,
Todd?
Todd?
I don't
I
care
don't care if
they're
they're
friends
friends
right
right now,
friends from
grade
grade
school.
school. I don't
I
care
don't care if
if
it's
dad
dad
and
and
grandpa.
grandpa.
Take it
Take
to
it
the
to the
here and now, not the past. All right?
All right.
I want to
I
hear
don't
every
hear
references to John
John
Riddle or Daryl
Riddle,
Lamonica
Lamonica
from your
from your
grandfather. Who's the
Who's
best
the best
quarterback?
quarterback?
And you
Top 10
wa-
quarterbacks.
Yeah, you
You
watch
watch
the battle of
Battle
the
of the
Sioux.
Sioux.
All right.
All right.
The ears
If-
that
if-
perk up when you
Yes.
say that.
Yes.
If today Matthew Stafford is not mentioned, start fighting. If today Drake May is not mentioned, start fighting. Obviously Patrick Mahomes, obviously Josh Allen, okay? But those other two guys for sure. If J.J. McCarthy is mentioned, start fighting, okay? Just whatever you have. If it's a beer, place it down. If it's a mixed drink, just drop it and start fighting the person who says that. I'm not going to try and judge a kid, and he still is a kid, after 3 career starts. 3 career starts. And now I'm such a hypocrite. I said I'm not going to judge him, and now I'm going to give you some statistics. They're going to make you go, what the hell? Okay. 57.5% completion percentage. Thumbs up or thumbs down on that? It's a thumbs down. What's the percentage have to be for you? What do you want your quarterback to be?
At least 60. At least.
At least 60?
At least.
It's got to be more than that, Trent.
Well, I know, but that's what that like I can get away with 60 if my quarterback's a gunslinger and our offense is just
There's
all
30
about
there's
getting it
30 quarterbacks right now. 30 who complete 60% or better in their passing.
Okay.
It's got to be more than 60%, okay? I thought you were going to say 65. Cuz that's what it is for me. 65%. And by the way, at 65%, I'm still looking at 20 quarterbacks, including Carson Wentz.
Wow.
Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, that's 50%. Geno Smith is 65%. Okay? Just so you know. I'm just trying to give you I'm not chastising here.
No, I got you.
Geno Smith completes close to 67% of his passes. A lot of them to the other team too, but I can't count those. All right? You don't like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers completes 69% of his passes, Trent. Okay? So that's that. I don't know about yards per game, what you feel yards per game should be. Matthew Stafford, for example, it's 268.5 yards per game.
Yeah, definitely depends on what the offense looks like for that team.
Right. But you would hope a throwing quarterback is going to get you 250 yards per game. Okay.
Sure.
If somebody did throw for 250 in a game, it wouldn't be all that great. But if you're averaging roughly 250, you feel pretty good about your quarterback. That quarterback would be a top 12 quarterback.
Yeah, and if your offense is humming, yes.
Yeah, if your offense is going. Through 9, some is 10. Bo Nix has played 10 games now. Touchdowns, let's say it's 9 games. You're hoping for somewhere around 18 touchdowns. You'd like it about 2 touchdowns a game. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's only 3 with that. There's only 3 guys who've thrown for 2 touchdowns or more a game. Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert, and Bo Nix. And Bo Nix really is not quite 2. It's a little under 2 because he played the extra game.
Well, I wouldn't have guessed Bo Nix based on last night, but
right. Ratings are a different story.
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy, as I mentioned, with his completion percentage, which is horrific right now at under 58%, has thrown as many touchdowns or interceptions as touchdowns. In other words, look, he started 3 games. He's thrown 4 touchdowns. Okay, not quite 2, obviously, but the touchdown to interception ratio is troubling. Matthew Stafford, 21 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's it. If you look at Drake May, who I think is a really good quarterback, and it deserves to be in the MVP conversation. 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. In other words, he has 4 times as many touchdowns as J.J. McCarthy, but the same number of interceptions. I know he's played more games, but he's also had a chance to make more mistakes. So when you say J.J. McCarthy hasn't had that much of a chance to throw that many touchdowns, yeah, but when you look at it, Drake May, because of how many games he's played, more than twice as many, he has thrown 4 times as many touchdowns and more than that, and he's had a chance to make a hell of a lot more mistakes, and he hasn't. Now, McCarthy is in his first full season because last year he was hurt, as you know, and he's coming off a team impressive win over the Lions. I'm not going to say he didn't do anything. He threw a couple touchdown passes, ran for a touchdown, and made, I would say, 3 or 4 really good throws. Okay? I'm not trying to take anything away from the kid. Liked him at Michigan. Thought he ran good play action. I think he needs a running game to support what he does. I don't think he's – well, yeah. I mean, and by the way, and he's not alone in that. There's a lot of quarterbacks who need that, okay? He's not Dan Marino. Dan Marino didn't have to turn and hand off to Tony Nathan. He didn't. Who is Rob Sims' father-in-law, by the way, who played for the Lions. He didn't have to do that. He had Mark Clayton. He had Jim Jensen as a tight end. He had Mark Duper. Dan Marino dropped back and slung it around the yard.
And the team was constructed accordingly based on his skill set.
Yeah, but they only got to 1 Super Bowl under Dan Marino. So I want to bear with me. Joe Montana needed a running game. There's nothing wrong with that. Terry Bradshaw needed a running game. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of great quarterbacks need running games. You want balance. This is what we hear from people all the time in football. You want balance. Do you think Jared Goff needs a running game? If you don't, you need to be punched and delivered. Okay. Because he hands off all the time, and it's all on play action. He needs play action to be successful. Period. He needs to get off the line. He needs wide receivers to catch the ball. Sure, that's all part of it. He needs play action, just like a lot of quarterbacks need play action. People are not – Tom Brady's not holding the safety of the linebacker if he's not doing play action. Peyton Manning's not doing it either. It helps to have Edgerrin James. It's helped in the past for Kurt Warner to have Marshall Faulk, right? Okay. I don't think that's hard to understand or grasp. So I'm not blaming J.J. McCarthy here. He had a really good running game at Michigan. He played off it very well. He only lost 1 game as a college player. If you can't admit that he was a really good college football player, you weren't paying attention. And you have a bias. And I can't help you with that. As an NFL player, he has been underwhelming so far. Okay? Here's what he said this week. Just yesterday, I believe, or maybe it was Wednesday. This is what he said this week when somebody asked him if he had a bit of an alter ego. Listen to what he said.
Definitely a level of a switch that gets flipped. For me, it's, that I call him 9. 9 comes out, and I got to understand, okay, he can't be at his peak performance throughout 3.5 hours. So how do I find little ways, on the sideline, get back to my breath, get back to my visualization that could kind of maintain that intense, competitive stamina throughout the whole game. But yeah, it's just, the pure will, determination to get the job done.
Okay.
I call him 9, Shep.
Yeah, I call him 9. He needs to be. He's referring to himself in the third person there, dude.
Yeah, it's very cringeworthy.
It's really cringeworthy. What was worse, that or tweeting out kneecaps are intact?
Yeah, JJ, you weren't the reason you won. You weren't.
He was part of the reason.
Part of it, but you're not the primary reason you won.
Okay, I don't even care about that. You got to play that team again. And by the way, next year you're going to play him twice again. And if you hope to be in the league for a long time, you're going to play him twice a year. And the guy on the sidelines and the players who play for that guy and love that guy know that. That is a stupid thing to tweet out. This is a cringeworthy type thing to say. Referring yourself into the third person. I call him 9. It's like he's got a secondary personality, and it just doesn't make any sense. Look, even if Justin Herbert said that, I would say the same thing. It just sounds so stupid, and it will make life miserable for you. I don't know if it's on social media, at a stadium with signs, or people referring to you on the football field and so on and so forth.
Yeah, Mahomes comes out. I call him 15.
Yeah, please.
We're not doing
If you're
that.
going to do anything like that, at least accomplish something first. We're back after this, brought to you by Meyer on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. And if you missed any of today's show, be sure to check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your podcasts to find the greatest hits from every day's show.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
I know how much you love football, and I know how much you thirst for Lions talk. Hi, this is Matt Shepard. Every Friday morning on X's and Bros at 8:35, we will dive deep into the Lions, what went right, what went wrong, and what we can expect next. We call it What's Brewing with Lions analyst Rob Rubik, brought to you by Ferris Coffee. He's going to join me every week to break down the Lions and their opponent. What's Brewing with Rubes, brought to you by Ferris Coffee, every Friday morning at 8:35 on X's and Bros.
Ho, 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 ho. Santa Bucks are back at Meijer. This Friday and Saturday only, save up to $50 with Santa Bucks. Stack your Santa Bucks on top of 20% off sale items for low prices on brands like Lego, Squishmallows, Barbie, and more. Clip your Santa Bucks coupon in the Meijer app and get more merry for your money with Santa Bucks. This Friday and Saturday only. Santa Bucks and Meijer. Now that's what makes the holiday season a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Okay, 18 after the hour. Welcome back. Hunter Patterson is going to join us at an hour from now, and we're going to talk Pistons basketball a little bit. I'm excited for that. It's a shorter segment, but that's okay. Pistons play in Brooklyn tonight. Detroit has won 4 in a row. Brooklyn 1-7, yet to win at home. Brooklyn's not the story. The story is, I think, the balance Detroit has created. Cade Cunningham is the easy guy to talk about because he's a phenomenal player. What I think is most encouraging is the contributions they're getting regularly from Jalen Duren and from Isaiah Stewart. And I'm not going to get into Cade Cunningham calls Jalen Duren his favorite big. Of course he does. My God, man. But those two guys have been really good. They've been really consistent. In addition to that, we want to know about the Malik Beasley tweet or whatever he put out there on social media. Okay. Maybe it was on Instagram. I forget exactly what it was, about the only place he's going to play is Detroit. And then I want to ask him too about the expectations of Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, something we talked about yesterday. Okay. So Hunter Patterson, the Athletic, joins us at 8:18 on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Rob Rubik, 8:35. What's brewing with Rubes? Looking really forward to that, to get into the expectations for the Lions and the Washington Commanders, who are without Jaden Daniels and most likely without Terry McLaurin. We were talking just before the break about J.J. McCarthy. A friend of mine texted me and he said, my completion percentage has got to be minimum 2/3. Okay, so in other words, 67%. I said, you're not even looking at him until it's over 65%. Trent said about 60%. J.J. McCarthy's well under that, and yet he comes out and refers to himself in the third person. People are buying it, though. Some members of the media are buying it. ESPN.com. Listen to this. This is from Peter Schrager, who used to work at NFL Network and CBS. Did some sidelines there. And now he is at ESPN. And he's a football insider. And I'm not knocking him for his knowledge, but I do think it's rather funny how people are buying into this with J.J. McCarthy. This is what he said on his podcast just the other day. Go.
J.J. McCarthy was fantastic on Sunday. You have to realize how big a task that was for this young man. Coming in injured, playing in a way that was, I'm not going to say with reckless abandon, but using his legs, running the ball, putting himself in harm's way, not playing a protective, safe. No. J.J. McCarthy was out there and he was using his legs and he was risking injury every time he did. And also coming out and doing it in Detroit. J.J. McCarthy just won in Detroit against a team that everyone was crowning as the NFC North team after a few weeks and big wins that they had.
I tell fans not to get too hyperbolic. And you got to listen to that. I'm telling you, man. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a line. I want you to tell me if it would fall into the category of fantastic. 14 for 25, 143 yards.
No.
Hold on. Two touchdowns, one pick, sacked five times.
No.
Is that fantastic?
Resounding no.
Right. He was injured. The week before, Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison, one of them, caught a pass, rolled out of bounds. He literally did a hopscotch jump over the guy.
Oh, yeah, that was Addison.
It was Jordan Addison. So he did a hopscotch jump over. In other words, I think the ankle's okay. All right. So he's acting like, oh my God, he's injured. He used his legs. 9 carries, 12 yards.
Or no, that was Jefferson, by the way. Not that it matters, but that was Jefferson.
He used his legs. J.J. McCarthy, 9 carries, 12 yards. Is that using your legs in your mind? To me, it's not. I'm not trying to be a smart ass here, Trent. I'm not trying to be.
I know.
I'm just asking you. 9 carries, 12 yards. I don't get it. I just don't get where they're coming from. And lastly, he's had a chance to be injured every time he did. Doesn't every player
I was
on
just
every
gonna say that.
single snap, whatever position they're playing, have a chance to be injured on every single play?
Aren't they all out there risking injury on every play? This is football, man.
This is no. It used to be football. It's no longer football. It's not. It's not football. We've got guys who cover this on a national scope, and I take this seriously. Because I really take it seriously because people listen to people like this. I don't want to say they're influencers. They influence people's opinions. I did a speech yesterday at the Detroit Athletic Club. Okay. Talked a little bit about our show and so on and so forth. I did it for what is the Beavers. It's a bunch of guys who belong to the Detroit Athletic Club, and on Thursday mornings they play water basketball.
The Beavers?
Awesome. Yeah, the Beavers. It's been around since 1918.
I love that.
Okay, yeah. So they served me lunch. They gave me a really cool robe because that's what they do. They put on their own robes after they get out of the water. And I did a speech. And it feels like a locker room. It feels like a locker room because people are trying to throw rolls at you sometimes from the lunch. They'll throw barbs at you, and they'll heckle you a little bit every once in a while. Nobody heckled me last night or yesterday because I made sure I set that ground rule pretty quick with the guy who is known as a heckler. I said, bring it on anytime, but just know you're going to get it right back. So it was a fun, loose, lighthearted type conversation, but a lot of it was questions left and right at the end on a lot of different topics. Okay, and football was one of them, about the softness of football. There were some other questions about Scooble and the Tigers that we'll get to as well. But you say it's football. We've got people here. And I noticed it yesterday because I was telling people, giving them not only my opinion, but I think solid information. I think we've got good information on this show. We give you pertinent information. We just don't blow air. Okay? You may have some other shows you listen to or will listen to. They blow hot air. We give you facts.
We take pride in that, by the way.
We give you a lot of opinion, but we back it up with what we consider solid sports knowledge. Anyway, a lot of these people were intently listening to what I was saying, and they had opinions too, which I respect. But when you ask them, why would you pay a guy, or why do you think they're going to pay a guy, and give them a well thought out scenario, it makes them stop and think. This guy, Peter Schrager, is telling you that J.J. McCarthy was fantastic when he's not, that he was injured when we saw it with our own eyes. Don't pay attention to what you see. We saw that a couple of years ago. Jumping over a player who was coming towards him on the sideline, and that he used his legs.
Yikes.
And he picked up 12 yards. He averaged 1.2 yards per carry. I want you to think about that. And he expects you to believe him. Here's the problem. He's going to go back on TV this weekend. You're going to have people watching, and they're going to go, yeah, you're right, and take notes off the crap that he says. That is his opinion. That J.J. McCarthy was fantastic. That he was injured, that he used his legs, he put himself at risk every single time he ran the football. You're going to believe that stuff? That's ridiculous. Speaking of Tarek Scooble, another guy comes out and questions about his situation in Detroit. We'll get to that on the other side. Plus, I do want to bring up some examples of what it's going to take, give you a parameter of what it's going to take to keep him and why now is the best time to move on. We'll do that when we come back. This hour is brought to you by Meijer.
Save a good deal more this holiday season with Meijer brand hot deals. Enjoy big savings with Meijer brand ingredients and make your festive Thanksgiving meal even better. Like cans of Meijer cut green beans for 49 cents each, Meijer turkey stuffing mix for 99 cents, cans of Meijer 100% pure pumpkin are just $1.09 each, and Meijer chicken broth is 69 cents. Shopping for holiday meal essentials is a good deal better at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Dorn Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week all the way through the Super Bowl. Dorn Mayhew is proud to partner with the Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Dorn Mayhew proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is a managing shareholder at Dorn Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on the Huge Show going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
Thanks for listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. You want to talk to Shep? Call us at 866-838-4843.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Thanks for being with us. My hotline is 866-838-4843. Text the program Sports Radio to 21,000. I'm Matt Shepard. Just out of curiosity, before we dive into this, what's the latest you play golf? What's the latest you've ever played golf?
If it drops lower than 50, it's kind of hard.
Really?
Yeah.
I played last week. It was 47.
Okay. That's cutting it close, but I put it this way, Shep. I would consider going out if it's 47, but if it's lower than 50, I'm like, probably not.
Yeah, my oldest boy it's a bye week from Michigan. He's the director of football communications there. So I said to him, hey, and I love playing. We don't get a chance to do it nearly as much as I would like. But I said, hey, you want to get together and play? And he's like, it's pretty cold out. Like, put on a sweatshirt. I mean, if the sun is out, I want to play. That's just me. So I talked to my youngest boy yesterday, and I said, hey, you want to play this weekend? And he just kind of looked at me. He's like, Dad, are you kidding me? No, I don't. I don't. It's supposed to rain. I said, well, it depends on how heavy it's supposed to rain. He's like, Dad, I'm not playing when it's in the 40s and it's raining.
There's nothing worse than cold rain, right? Like a rainstorm, and when it's humid and it's hot, that's fine. You can deal with that. When it's cold rain,
I'm excited to talk with Rubes. What's Brewing with Rubes, brought to you by Ferris Coffee at 8:35. It's almost as if people just start picking up certain topics and just running with them. I don't know how this has happened, Trent. I don't. But I see another national show, and the headline is, Vikings fans, you've got your guy in J.J. McCarthy. It's not that I want to root against the guy. I know you do because he played at Michigan. I understand that. But my God, man. Can we pump the brakes for just a moment?
You've got your guy, Shep.
You've got your guy. There's another podcast, Ross Tucker. And what do? Will freeze their offensive linemen. What do they ask him about? J.J. McCarthy. And what does he say? The intensity. The moxie. You just believe that he can make something happen at all times. Okay.
I was going to say, as if other quarterbacks don't have those same qualities.
Some do. I'm sure some don't.
We know that's
a little fake.
Call it as you see it.
Another football writer, to his credit, Kevin O'Connell, really hasn't kept it a secret. Here's the next phase of J.J. McCarthy's development. Literally, we're asking like he just came off a Joe Flacco-like weekend. 440 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Shep,
Tom Brady threw for 500 yards. Oh my God, Tom Brady, 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's J.J. McCarthy. He hasn't done anything yet. He's Tommy Kramer for Minnesota. And by the way, they wore the same number. I don't get it. Maybe it's the fact that, we got to put something together for football. That could be. Very strange. Very strange. What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, they're fourth in the NFC North right now. They're in fourth place. And the fact that everyone's crowning this guy as he played fine, good enough, not great, as we talked about yesterday, but just, my God, man, they're a last place team. You can say it's the best division in football all you want, whatever. They're still in last place. They're 4-4. They're average, and we're going to crown this guy.
Right. Exactly. For what? Let's just let it play out. That's all. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he won't someday be worthy. Well, he's had 3 NFL starts. He's thrown for the most yards he's thrown for is 158 yards. He completes under 58% of his passes. He has as many interceptions as touchdowns. You're putting that cart before the horse way too early here.
Yep.
Just chill out. Okay. Now, let's get to this. That's a tiresome topic. This is another tiresome topic. It is, but I warned you this was going to happen, and I'm sure you knew it anyway. Last year, off-season, Tigers baseball, what was the topic? What are you going to do with Tarek Skubal? When are you going to extend him? This year, what's the topic? Are we going to sign Alex Bregman? Do you want Bo Bichette? Even though Bo Bichette's not a very good fielder, he makes contact, he's got some power, he'll steal you some bases. We all look at things like it's a one-year deal. Let's just get him. And you realize these players, and he's only 28, so that's pretty good. You realize these players are going to be asking for 8-year deals, right? 7 and 8 year deals. Maybe you get a contract where you can get a player option or a team option. You'd like the team option after 5 or 6 years. If you could do that, 2 thumbs up. Are you going to spend $35 million on him? I don't know about that. We played you some sound the other day. Steve Phillips saying that he thinks the Mets are the perfect spot for Tarek Skubal. And then it's funny how other people at MLB Network then start to kind of create that same vibe. And then suddenly it leaks over and ESPN starts saying it. Other networks start saying, well, the Mets are a perfect fit for him. Okay. If Scott Harris did that deal that Steve Phillips, no wonder Steve Phillips isn't the general manager anymore. If Scott Harris did that deal that Steve Phillips was talking about, people would be pissed, and rightfully so. With that said, he was asked, not who, but will the Tigers trade. Here's what he said on MLB tonight, last night.
I don't know how they don't trade him. I mean, they made it clear they didn't want to give up prospects at the trade deadline, which was that they're building for something in the future. And so the idea that you're going to go with Skubal for the rest of this year and then just not get anything in return just doesn't make any sense. And so, honestly, I thought they should have gone for it at the deadline, traded whatever prospects you wanted to, and have a chance to win with Skubal, and then trade them and replenish the prospects. Now I think you just, you stockpile prospects. You go get some major league ready pitching in return.
Don't disagree with that at all. I don't. So I can criticize him for yesterday siding with, I think he's going to the Mets because he was a Mets general manager. But I also can side with him or criticize him, I should say, yesterday for that. But I can side with him on this. I don't think he's always wrong. Okay. I think he's right about this. This is part of the reason I think you and I wanted them to do that. If you are not going to extend him, you have to have an idea right now. Don't tell me, well, we're going to wait and let this season play out. Then it's too late. You had to. Everybody says they look forward. Every organization says they have to look ahead. Brad Holmes is looking ahead for the Lions. I've got guys I got to sign. Campbell, excuse me. Thought about Bobby Carpenter for a second. I don't know why. Former Lions linebacker and Ohio State Buckeye. Campbell, Branch, Gibbs, Laporta. You know the names. Looking ahead. Scott Harris has to look ahead too. And he does. Okay? A good general manager, a good president of baseball ops does that. But if you're looking ahead and you think that you're not going to sign Tarek Skubal, you need to get rid of him and get whatever you possibly can for him, the best deal you can possibly get for him. If you feel like you're going to re-sign him, then help him. Who does that mean? Does it mean Alex Bregman? Does it mean Kyle Tucker? Does it mean Bo Bichette? Which free agent are you referring to? I don't know what you'd do with Bo Bichette with Javier Baez there, stuck on another year deal, unless you're going to play him in center field, which, fine, he made it as an all-star a year ago. Again, Bichette doesn't help your defense, but most people think Kevin McConaughey is a can't-miss prospect. He's going to play second base. Great. Cole Keith can't play shortstop. He's not a second baseman. They moved him to first base. I've talked about how stupid that was. Maybe he's a third baseman. I don't know what you do with Bryce Rayner. Max Anderson had a really good Arizona Fall League. All these things, right? You've got to keep things in perspective. I said this yesterday. The Tigers wanted Carlos Correa and were off and weren't willing to pay him. The Tigers reportedly wanted Bregman and were offering him close to $30 million a year. And he signed for well over that, $40 million in Boston. Now he's opted out. You think you're going to sign him to a long-term deal? I doubt that. He's going to want one, but I wouldn't sign him to a long-term deal. Correa ends up signing in Minnesota. You understand he had a player option, re-upped with Minnesota, made a lot more money than the Tigers would have been offering. If you think the gap is so far between those two players, and they're both really good players, both won World Series, both Silver Sluggers, both Gold Gloves, if the gap was that far between those two, you think they can make up the gap that was reported, important word there, reported from their offer 2 years ago to what he's going to expect this year? The lowest bar for him is going to be Garrett Cole, roughly $325 million, right? Okay. That's what Scott Boras is going to do. Garrett Cole's making, $36 million a year. Scuba's he's going to break that bank, and he should. Let me give you some perspective right now. Kyle Tucker, like Derek Skubal, 29 years old. The projection for Kyle Tucker, who's a hell of a player, I'd love to have him, is 10 years, $350 million. That's the projection. In other words, it's going to take until he's 39 years old. Somebody's going to pay that. Do you think the Tigers would pay him 10 years, $350 million? I don't, nor would I. The easy thing to do is to talk about, would you get Bo Bichette? Absolutely, I'd get him. Because we talk about him like it's just a name on a piece of paper. And that's irresponsible. The bottom line for Bo Bichette, they're going to look at least at Willie Adames' 7-year, $182 million deal with the Giants, don't you think? So you're going to pay him 8 years, $220 million? Mm-hmm. You're going to have a 36-year-old shortstop. I doubt it. Oh, we'll move to DH. Oh. How do you know? What if you get another guy? Hi, Kerry Carpenter. Perfect as DH. And Bo Bichette's right-handed, Carpenter's left-handed. My point is you got to think about these things. Okay? And look, Bichette's been good. I like it. I like that he can steal bases. That's going to go away in that contract. But maybe you're not playing long-term. That's fine. The Bichette contract of $220 million, I think is more palatable. Although the power will leave. You want pitchers. I have mentioned a guy who would fit well in the Tigers' rotation. It's Framber Valdez with Houston. He's projected to sign a 7-year, $200 million deal. That's close to $30 million a year. If he's going to make $30 million a year, Framber Valdez, what do you think Derek Skubal going to ask for? See, what Scott Boras is going to do is the right thing. You may not like him. I may not like him. Baseball players love him because he sets a market. And he'll take his guys and pull them out and make sure teams are going to pay their due for his guys. And he usually gets his guys what he thinks is the right price. Not the fair price, the right price. So Framber Valdez is going to make roughly $30 million a year. You know damn well that Derek Skubal is going to make closer to 40. It's just logic, man. It's not that hard. Cody Bellinger, he's 30 years old. He's going to command close to $200 million on an extended deal, 7-8 years. This is the going rate with what's going on in baseball right now. You guys, Dylan Cease is 30. He's not the pitcher Derek Skubal is. He's going to go for probably somewhere they're projecting 6 years, $200 million. That's, $30 million for Dylan Cease. I'm just trying to give you a gauge, a realm in which Tarek Skubal and his agency with Scott Boras is going to come to the Tigers already know this, but it's important that we know this collectively. When we start talking about these things, we've got to have a reference point. It can't be just a player that we would like to see in a Tigers uniform. Boy, he'd look really good. That's what I got yesterday. Somebody said, hey, you know what? I'd like to see him go get Alex Bregman. Okay. Alex Bregman's going to be 32. Probably wants, I would guess, a 6-year deal. And then I said, and in that 6-year deal, he's going to want at least $25 million a year. At least. I would guess it's closer to 30. I do some research. I look at a few articles. Alex Bregman, in all likelihood, 6 years, $180 million. You can pay $30 million for a 38-year-old. They did that before you pissed. They did that before, and you're like, why did we sign Miguel Cabrera to a long-term deal? When people talk about these baseball contracts, I want him in an old English D because you want him for this year and maybe next year and maybe the year after. You're not thinking the long-term stuff. You're feeling the same way you felt about when Verlander signed a long-term deal, when Miguel Cabrera signed a long-term deal, when Javier Baez signed. You thought the Baez contract when he came here, you're like, oh, I'm pretty happy about it. Most people, not all of you. I'm pretty happy about it. Now you can't stand it, and that's $24 million. What's going to happen when Alex Bregman is hurt at age 35, 36, and you still got 3 years left at $30 million, and you're saying it handcuffs us? Have a barometer, understand what lane Tarek Skubal is going to be in, and you might feel like you understand things just a little bit better. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. The text line is Sports Radio 21,000. Don't forget, it's a Ferris Coffee Friday. That means what's brewing at 8:35. Hunter Patterson joins us at 8:18. Our Pistons on X's and Bros.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Ho, 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 ho. Santa Bucks are back at Meijer. This Friday and Saturday only, save up to $50 with Santa Bucks. Stack your Santa Bucks on top of 20% off sale items for fa-la-la-la low prices on brands like Lego, Squishmallows, Barbie, and more. Clip your Santa Bucks coupon in the Meijer app and get more merry for your money with Santa Bucks. This Friday and Saturday only. Santa Bucks and Meijer. Now that's what makes the holiday season a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Ferris Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
It's raining cash, cash, cash this November at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 4 guests each hour will score $500 cash. At 11 p.m. each Saturday, 2 lucky winners will each take home $10,000 cash. Then on November 29th, the excitement peaks. 2 guests will strike it rich with $30,000 cash each. A share of $200,000 in cash is calling your name. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
It's time to go in the huddle with Matt Shepard.
1, 2, 3, top flight!
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use the code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE, H-U-G-E, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The Lions are in the nation's capital for a revenge game against the Commanders, who eliminated Detroit 45-31 in the divisional round of the playoffs a year ago. Washington doesn't even look like the same team, though. 3-6 and loses of 4 in a row. They've got problems. The Lions, in the meantime, need a pick-me-up. They are bruised from a close loss to Minnesota, where the Lions allowed a season-high 5 sacks, 11 hits, and a reported 26 pressures. All-world tackle Penei Sewell called the performance one of the worst of the season, and the communication has to improve. Turnovers are a key in every game. We know that, especially evident with these two teams, though. The Lions are a +6 in the turnover margin, Washington a -6. This is a game the Lions should win, but they should have won last week, too, and didn't.
knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Home run! Home run! He hit it a mile! Let's give them the keys to the Hall of Fame, but not tonight. Tonight they are in the Stanley Cup. Steve Eisenman, come get it.
It feels like heaven must be lying. I got one question for you, Michigan Nation. Who's got it better than us?
Right center field. That's got carry. It's gone. Number 500 and history for Miguel Cabrera.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Yes.
This game is over.
Let's put the kill.
They score. Red Wings win. Detroit basketball.
I saw a national guy for Fox earlier today tweet out a segment of their program. Welcome, everybody, back. Final hour, X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Rob Rubik joins us 8:35. Hunter Patterson at 8:18. Anyway, this national host said the possible coaches for Penn State: Brent Key, Pat Fitzgerald. I retweeted and said 2 names I've suggested for MSU if they make a change. I spoke with somebody with ties to Michigan State yesterday, and we were talking about John Smith, who's a good dude. He is. He's a good man. I know. People are like, oh my gosh, I don't need to be fired out on the sideline. I want to see more emotion. How about that emotion from Brian Kelly? He's a jerk. I can't stand that guy. You know. Anyway, Jonathan Smith is a good man. How good of a coach is he? He sure as hell hasn't proven it so far at Michigan State. My question would be, how much resource does he get? How many resources does that man receive for Michigan State? It is hard for that school right now to get the buy-in from donors. And I hate talking about that. I mean, folks, don't tell me you're any different. There was a time in college football, if you're old enough, college sports, college sports where you and I were like, man, this is awesome. I love the pride. I love the togetherness in the stands. I love the whole tailgating atmosphere of anticipation for the game and knowing that you're going to have a player for 3 to 4 years and a coach who's going to go out there and represent your school the right way and build relationships with high school coaches and all that. You don't feel that anymore, do you? I know. I don't either. This is such a cliche. It feels like a business. And it always has been. Okay? Whether we like it or not, it always has been. I had somebody yesterday afternoon talk to me about one local program. I don't know why they play football. They should get rid of football. Like, oh, it's interesting. Okay. So they have a TV contract that is worth a little bit more than $1 million. Take that away. Football's gone. Okay. Take it away. How do the other sports survive? Ticket sales? With all due respect, and I wanted my daughter to play in college. She was a 2-time All-State player. I love it. Do you think women's lacrosse is going to pay for itself? How are you going to pay for it? Where do you think that money goes? For these mid-major programs, when they make that money from TV deals and stuff, where does the money go? You're going to have a golf program. You're going to have a swimming program. You're going to have a diving program. You're going to have a lacrosse program. You're going to have a track and field. See it? It's not happening. It's crazy. We just don't think about it. If you missed any of the headlines, if you went to bed last night and you decided not to watch a football game, good for you. You're smarter than I am. Seriously. It was one of the worst football games I've seen in a long time.
Horrible.
I handle defensive battles. I don't mind them. Okay? What I can't stand is horrible offense. And Denver's offense was horrible. As I tweeted out, I don't know how this team is 7-2 with an offense like this. Like we thought the Lions' offense was terrible. against Minnesota. Did it look that bad last night? Nope. We thought it was subpar against Tampa, even in a win. Did it look as bad as Denver's last night? Nope. We thought it was bad against Kansas City. The closest thing I could come to was the opening weekend against Green Bay. And we both said, that's an awful football game. Denver doesn't care. They won it 10-7. Both teams had 11 penalties. Both teams had 10 first downs. You got more penalties than first downs. You've got to look at the film and go over a few things because you were not good enough on that day. But Denver got by on a 3-point win. They had 6 sacks, 5 in the first half, and they improved to 8-2 and unbeaten at home. Speaking of home, that's where the Red Wings were settled. They've got 4 straight at home. They've got 7 of the next 8 at home. Tonight they play against the Rangers. Patrick Kane should be back. Pistons are back in the hardwood. They play in Brooklyn. We're going to talk about Hunter Patterson, 8-18. Tigers are not going to bring back Paul Sewald or Jose Urquidy. They've declined options on both. What they did do, though, is extend a $22 million qualifying offer to Gleyber Torres. And that means that if he doesn't sign with Detroit gets a compensatory pick in the MLB draft. Here's our Mitch Lyons question of the day. We asked you who has the best draft record. Which team is drafted the best? The Lions, the Red Wings, Pistons, or the Tigers? Vote as often as you want. The results come your way tomorrow. Speaking of poll questions and Mitch Lyons' wealth, which Detroit decision maker do you trust most? That's what we asked you yesterday as part of our poll question. Which is it? Brad Holmes, Scott Harris, Trajan Langdon, Steve Yzerman. I think people are upset about Brad Holmes. I think they still haven't forgiven Scott Harris. I'm not sure how much they trust in Steve Yzerman. So I'm going to say Trajan Langdon wins this. At least he did something at the trade deadline by bringing in Dennis Schroeder. What did the masses say, Trent?
Well, Trajan Langdon got 12% of the vote.
Oh, boy. Okay. Way off. Way off. All right.
Brad Holmes ran away with this thing with 72%. And I can respect the level-headedness of the Lions fan base.
Me too. I didn't expect it to be there, but I give him credit too. So it's Brad Holmes,
then Trajan Langdon and Steve Yzerman are tied at 12%, and then Scott Harris bringing up the rear with 4% of the vote.
Okay. I know we didn't do well on the Daily Wager brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and their Sportsbook Ascend because I think you had Denver covering the 8.5. Did you not last night? What did you have?
No, I had Denver to win, actually, so we did fine.
Oh, okay. I'm the one who
they didn't cover that.
Right, they didn't cover that. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you won the Daily Wager. What do you got for us tonight in terms of a Daily Wager?
Not tonight necessarily, but this weekend, the Lions to cover the spread against the Commanders. I don't even care what the number is. I just think the Commanders are in a horrible spot. The Lions in a bounce-back spot. I know you love that term, Shep. The Lions cover the spread this weekend. I don't even know what it is right now. It's going to move to.
What do you think it'll move to? I mean, knowing that there is no Jaden Daniels is a really big deal. Don't you think?
Oh, huge. That's part of that's the thought process.
Okay.
Here.
So if you're looking at it, it's a 425 kick.
Yeah.
What's the difference now? It's got to be at least a touchdown. At least a touchdown. What is it? I think it's 7.5
right now.
I think
Give me 1 second.
I think it's 7.5. So if it's 7.5, would you take the Lions giving the points?
All right. So as we speak right now, it's actually moved to 8.5. So I expect it to go to at least 10. Seriously, I do. And I trust the Lions to cover that.
I'm not going that far. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Their offense has not been good. There's too many question marks up front. Hell, they're experimenting.
Even with no Jaden Daniels?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm worried. It's not that I don't think the Lions aren't going to win. I do. I'm talking about their ability to, score a lot. Their offense has been very good. I mean, they attack. They didn't run the ball very well last week. John Morton is every week he trots out there, and I've supported him. But every week he trots out there. What does he do? He says, "I got to get the ball more to fill in the blank." Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, Now it's Isaac Tesla.
Yeah.
And
you think, yes.
No, that's what he said. This is
Yeah.
what he said. It's not what you think. It's what he has said. And it's made me go, wait a minute, man. I mean, just worry about getting the ball in the end zone. I don't give a crap.
I'm not talking about what he said. I'm just talking about what you would believe he'll actually try to do and scheme up.
Yeah, as we discussed yesterday, it's moronic for a third-round pick to start one game, play 8, have 6 targets, 3 catches. That's stupid, okay? I don't know what the hell you were thinking. Use the guy. When we come back, Hunter Patterson will join us. We'll talk Pistons. He's from The Athletic. He'll join us next on X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Save a good deal more this holiday season with Meyer brand hot deals. Enjoy big savings with Meyer brand ingredients and make your festive Thanksgiving meal even better. Like cans of Meyer cut green beans for 49 cents each, Meyer turkey stuffing mix for 99 cents, cans of Meyer 100% pure pumpkin are just $1.09 each, and Meyer chicken broth is 69 cents. Shopping for holiday meal essentials is a good deal better at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
18 after the hour. Welcome back on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Ferris coffee would taste really good right now because it's kind of chilly out. It's raining in Metro Detroit anyway. It's supposed to be an ugly weekend. I know it sucks. You look forward to the weekend all week long, and then it comes in, and you've got cold rain, and there's supposed to actually be some snow. I don't think it's going to stick on Sunday. I'm not trying to be a meteorologist. I'm just telling you what others have said. It's frustrating for me because would love to play golf this weekend and would be willing to do so. So I will. I can bundle up a little bit. If the I said to the course I was at 2 weeks ago, it was like 46 degrees when I teed off. The sun was out, but it was still cold. And I said to the guy, 14 off, hey, how late are you guys open? And they said, we'll stay open as long as the weather's decent enough. I said, great. I'll be back. And I will be back. I would golf on Thanksgiving if it was nice enough. I'm not sure how Hunter Patterson feels about that, but we do know that he doesn't like going to basketball games. He's going to be busy doing that. And the Pistons are in tonight. He's ready to follow and help you out with all the knowledge that he can convey. He joins us right now here on X's and Bros. Hunter, appreciate it as always. I've been really encouraged with the Pistons, just like you, not just because they've won 4 straight, and not just because Cade Cunningham continues to evolve, but because of the 2 bigs and how consistent they have been. Where have you noticed Jalen Duren's game improve the most?
First off, good morning. I too would golf on Thanksgiving, but
you're my kind of guy, man. Way to go.
No, of course, I love being out there. But I think with JD, he's just much more confident and creative offensively. He mentioned during training camp that he had the green light to kind of just expand his game offensively, and we've seen that with some of the grab and goes. He's been pretty creative also, I would say, in short roll situations, whether it's dumping it to the corner, the dunker spot, or whether he's taking bigs off the dribble. And I think he's just overall more confident in his offensive game this year.
I'm not going to lie. You've already written this, and you were right. I was wrong. You have written Isaiah Stewart a year ago against the Knicks, if healthy, probably a different scenario. A guy who makes a massive difference with their interior defense. I thought that was a bit of a reach, and I have been proven wrong. He has gotten better. I'm not a big fan of him taking threes, but he can keep you honest. Where do you see his game elevating to? How good can he be, do you think?
I think Stu is someone who's also just, I mean, he was shooting more threes before last season. JB kind of, I think, was just learning his game. Mm-hmm. He's at 39% on 3.5 threes this year. So he's turned into a kind of a smaller stretch 4, if you will, who loves to meet people at the rim. And at shoot around before their game against the Jazz, he kind of just alluded to the fact that, like, I don't really care if I get dunked on because that's a part of the job. And if you do dunk on me, like, I'll tip my cap to you and I'll meet you at the rim again. So I think he's just a fearless defender, someone who's now able to stretch the floor. He's statistically one of their best 3-point shooters behind Duncan Robinson now. And he's also expanded his game offensively. I think another thing too, both with he and Duren, is just their willingness to set hard screens and free Cade, Duncan, and Asara on DHOs is also a really beneficial thing in both of them.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great point. I mean, it's something that doesn't show up in the box score, but doesn't get nearly enough credit. So I'm glad you've done just that with Hunter Patterson with us on X's and Bros. He writes for the Athletic. Follow him on Twitter at Hunter Patterson. It's not all positive though. Look, I covered Duncan Robinson for all the years he played at the University of Michigan and Karis LeVert. People who thought they were going to come here and make up for the 3-pointers made by Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. weren't paying attention. That's not who Karis LeVert is, for example. But neither one has been as offensively involved as I thought they could be. What's holding them back, and how much more do you think the Pistons need from them?
I'd say with Duncan, he's still learning the ins and outs of the offense and kind of just where he fits in. And he was essentially thrust into the starting lineup with Jaden Ivey being sidelined again with the arthroscopic surgery. So I think it's just been a quick learning curve for Duncan, but he's now at 40% from three. He started a bit slow, but he's taken 6.5 per game, and he's at 40%. So he's, I would say, just working into his comfortability in the offense. And as far as Karis, he's had some injury problems. He's questionable for tonight with left knee soreness. So I think between his injury recovery, him trying to get acclimated, he's essentially the primary ball handler off the bench. And JB mentioned after last game here against the Jazz that it's not an easy role he's asking Karis to play. And he's kind of just acknowledged that Karis is there. I would say they're both having a bit of a learning curve, but for Duncan, he's figuring it out a bit quicker.
What do you think this team is missing most by Jaden Ivey and Marcus Sasser being on the bench?
It's a great question. I'd say Ivey is a fringe 20-point scorer from what we saw last season. He was averaging about 17 through his 30 games. And someone who can more or less just take pressure off of Cade. Cade has been handling pressure offensively well, now averaging 24.5, about 10 assists and around 5 boards. But I think as far as Ivy, he's just someone who can take pressure off of Cade more or less. He's uber athletic scorer. His 3-ball was a career best last year, and Sasser is just another kind of microwave type player. If he hits a couple shots, it doesn't take long for his confidence to rise and for him to be an offensive threat as well. But again, I think Asar Thompson has been showing his evolution also as a primary ball handler and someone who can help Cade get off the ball.
Agreed with all that. Hunter Patterson from The Athletic joining us. Just a couple of more moments here. They didn't pick up the rookie option for Jalen Duren or for Jaden Ivey. Do you anticipate this team working on a deal with both those players or one of them? Which would it be, and why do you think it wasn't picked up by the organization?
As far as why it wasn't, I would say just patience and Trajan Langdon kind of wanting to not have any, I don't want to call it a knee-jerk reaction because Duren played well second half of last season. As far as Ivy, he only played the first 30 games of last season. But I think Trajan is just wanting to see what he has in his young core. And I would assume that, especially with the way Duren is playing, he's on pace for a career year. I would assume something gets done there when the time comes. And it's tough to say for Ivy just because he hasn't played yet. But I know Trajan values both of them incredibly. He's mentioned multiple times that he's happy to have them as Pistons. So I don't really see a reason why there wouldn't be discussions around making something happen when the time comes.
Always a reason to read The Athletic and subscribe. Hunter Patterson's insight on the Pistons and the NBA. We appreciate your time, man, very much. Have a great weekend. Keep up the great work. If we don't talk, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You bet. That's Hunter Patterson from The Athletic. When we come back, Rob Rubik joins us on What's Brewing with Rubes, brought to you by Ferris Coffee on a Ferris Coffee Friday. And this hour, sponsored by Soaring Eagle Casino Resort.
Yeah, you know it. Rap Rewind 2000. Monday, December 29th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, featuring the boss, BrO's. Special guests, Twister, Baby Bash, and Ying Yang Twins. Tickets start at $75 and are on sale now at the box office at etix.com. Rap Rewind 2000. BrO's plus Twister, Baby Bash, and Ying Yang Twins. December 29th at Soaring Eagle. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Santa Bucks are back at Meijer. This Friday and Saturday only, save up to $50 with Santa Bucks. Stack your Santa Bucks on top of 20% off sale items for low prices on brands like Lego, Squishmallows, Barbie, and more. Clip your Santa Bucks coupon in the Meijer app and get more merry for your money with Santa Bucks. This Friday and Saturday only. Santa Bucks and Meijer. Now that's what makes the holiday season a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
One of our favorite parts of the week. Friday morning, 8:35. Can't wait for the weekend. College football on Saturday. Lions football on Sunday. Ferris Coffee Friday with a cold day out there and rainy, but you get a warm cup of Ferris coffee by your side, and you get to hear the dulcet tones of Rob Rubick. It's What's Brewing with Rubes. We have it for you every Friday, 8:35. Rubes is with us here on X's and Bros. It's always great to talk football with Rubes, and really anything, quite honestly. Rubes, how are you, my friend?
Doing great, Shep. Great to hear from you as well, bud.
Yeah, thank you, pal. Last week was ugly in a lot of different ways. You've always taught me wins don't always cover up some of your flaws. Well, maybe some of us got too wrapped up in a win over Tampa with the Legion of Whom. What concerned you most about the loss about Minnesota? And I don't mean just that game, but maybe a trend that you've noticed more than anything else.
Yeah, you know what I noticed is that Minnesota must have watched the film from Green Bay, and they attacked the Lions in the interior between the guards. Like Green Bay did it early in the year when the Lions struggled up front with the center and two guards. When that pressure came up the middle, we saw a lot of that, and Jared did not do a very good job of handling it. I think what makes Jared so good is also what really hurts him at times. He gets so focused with his eyes down the field, reading and looking and waiting for things to develop, that sometimes he doesn't feel that pressure that's right in front of him. Because there was a couple of times I felt bad for the backs. Either it was Gibbs or for Monty. They did a pretty good job picking up the inside, but he just kind of stood there too long instead of just sidestepping like you thought Tom Brady used to do. Mm-hmm. If he just sidesteps a couple of times, there's going to be stuff down the field, but he gets so locked in. I'm not sure if he feels that interior pressure coming at him. So Minnesota had a good game plan. They said, let's do what Green Bay did. They struggled against Green Bay, the Lions, and they brought a lot of A-gap pressure, and they moved guys around, and they brought it from different ways. And Todd Bowles won this time. You know, I'm saying he got it done. He beat Jared Goff in the game of pressure up front, where Jared in the past games against the Vikings has done a really good job handling it.
So knowing that, and you've got a rookie guard in Tate Ratledge, by the numbers anyway, has graded out as the second best rookie guard in the NFL and one of the better guards there is. Graham Glasgow continues to struggle a little bit. We know Christian Mahogany is out. How vital is that area to try and make sure that they are on the same page and getting better together if they want to move forward in a really tough part of their schedule?
Well, I think their body of work shows how vital it is. The two games where they really looked the worst to me offensively have been, not in the three losses, have been against Green Bay and Minnesota. That game broke down with the offense allowing the pressure in the interior between the tackles. Mm-hmm. And you can't have that. That's I'm a little bit surprised during the trade deadline. I mean, with Zeitler being out there, he's with Carolina, he's with someone bad. I know that.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe they might just try to go trade back for him, someone who's familiar with the system, someone they could plug and play right away. I don't think he would cost them maybe a 7th-round draft pick, possibly something. Yeah. I thought that they might make a move for him at the trade deadline, but they didn't. And they're a little bit beat up in there, and they're having some issues, and that's an area you cannot. We've talked in the past. You cannot allow interior pressure, outside pressure. Quarterbacks can live with. They can step up and they can move and they can feed a little bit better. But interior pressure, it's tough. And Jared did not do a very good job handling it. Like I said, his worst games have been against that. So I thought they might, Brad might decide to go get Zeitler or another interior offensive lineman. But, I also saw someone said it. They're very, very right about it, very correct. There's not that many really good linemen that they're valued, and people don't want to move them. You saw the cornerback. I mean, Sauce Gardner and the Jets. We're talking about that. I really like what the Jets did. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're going nowhere.
Right.
And it's not like they're lighting up the skies with this defense as it is. But, you look at the team now, if they can do it right with 5 first-round draft picks over the next couple of years, come on, dude, you can really make a mark. I know a
couple of seconds. You also they also got a couple of seconds, and here's the other thing that people forget. Sorry to cut you off. You bring in Zeitler from Tennessee. It would be great. I would have loved it. Evan Neal from the Giants wouldn't have been a bad idea. He can play guard or tackle for you. But if you're giving up, like who was it? The Eagles gave up a third-round pick to Miami for Jalen Phillips. And I know the Lions don't have one this year, but they gave up a third-round pick. If Jalen Phillips signs elsewhere, they get a third-round pick back. And those are the things that, that's where creativity comes to mind. There are a couple of corners who went for 6th and 7th round draft picks. I was just looking for depth. I wasn't looking for the home run guy. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, but that's not Brad's DNA. He does not ever either sign in the offseason or trade for big money players. He's not going to do that.
Yeah.
He's going to try to get the next tiered guys. But Zeitler's not a big money player. You know what I'm saying? Or the guy Neal's not a big. They're not big. They're not guys that are going to cost you an arm and a leg. That when you have, if you want to re-sign them, if you want to.
Yeah, I think Zeitler's making $9 million. Yeah, $9 million.
What's that?
Zeitler, I think, is making $9 million.
Oh, he is making that much right now.
Yeah, at Tennessee.
So that's a lot more than they paid him here. I thought he was getting 4 or 5 here.
Yeah. Yep. I think he got a $2.5 million bump to go to Tennessee.
Oh, good for him. Well, he played well here. I thought he was a road grader, man. He did a good job. They got issues. They got issues, but every team has issues. But what we have is we're pretty healthy compared to how we were at this point last year, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
But teams are, that's a template now. People have, when they look at the lines, they're saying, well, wait a minute. Let's look at their losses. Let's not look at their wins. Let's look at what teams did to slow them down offensively, and it's there. There's definitely a blueprint for slowing this team down. That's interior A-gap pressure. So the Lions also know that. You're always critiquing yourself. You have coaches on your staff and people who are hired to watch you. To what are we doing to help? Sometimes offensive coordinators can get tunnel vision. They don't see what teams are doing to them as much as if you get outside, someone comes in and says, okay, look, let me look at your film. Okay, John, this is what they're doing to you that's giving you issues. So what do you do to counteract that? So hopefully they'll have a game plan in place. And, they're catching Washington. We're complaining here. Well, Washington just lost their quarterback, their franchise quarterback.
Right.
Marcus Mariota, they got a backup who's fairly solid, who's been around the league, and he's had a career in the NFL. So it's not like they're not going to be able to move the ball some, and they still have their defense in place. So it'll be a challenge.
Rob Rubin joining us here on What's Brewing with Rubes. We bring to you every Friday morning, 8:35, brought to you by our friends at Ferris Coffee. And this hour of our program brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. You bring up a good point regarding Washington. With the Lions, we've seen John Morton come out in each of the last few weeks, and this is going to be a little bit of a disturbing trend for me, talking about how he has to get the ball more to fill in the name. David Montgomery. Sam Laporta. 2 weeks ago was Jameson Williams. This week it has been, and he said he failed Jameson Williams, which I thought was an overreach on his part. And then this week it's, we got to find a way to get the ball to Isaac Tesla, who they gave up 3 third-round picks for to draft him in the 3rd round. He's been targeted 6 times and caught 3 passes, and that's it. Do you feel like this offense is frayed and moving apart from what used to be its identity in general?
Yeah, the identity in general was everything went through Amon-Ra before. And then because of the tension that he starts to get, then you kind of start working it around. And then I would think Laporta was the 2. I don't like the fact when you say, I got to get it to so-and-so. No. You let the game dictate where the ball goes.
Yes.
You let their defense dictate where the ball goes. You don't force feed anyone. Now, if there's ways within your offense, within your structure, that you can incorporate plays that will highlight certain, okay, that's fine. My thing with J-Mo is it's pretty simple. Let him run. Let him eat, baby. You gotta take the top off, John. Every now and then, first down, throw a freaking 50-yard route to him. If you complete it, it could be incomplete, or you could get an interference call, or it could, or you could catch it. But you have to soften up those safeties because they're starting to cheat downhill. People say, they're playing it too high now, and you should run the ball. But if they're cheating those safeties because you haven't been threatening them deep, they're going to start sneaking downhill quicker, and it won't be like they're playing it too high. So they're going to have more of 7, 8 in the box. And then you can't run the ball. So I think it's your scheme more than personnel. If you run your scheme at what you were doing, and last year we saw him try to go deep more than we're seeing this year. I just don't remember many routes, or if Jared's not throwing it, they're still running deep. We're just not seeing on the big TV screen here. But no, don't start trying to force feed people, make people happy. That doesn't work. We've seen that. That's why guys leave. That's we see with A.J. Brown. in Philly, he's unhappy. Well, he's probably going to be out. We thought he'd be out of the trade deadline, and people start complaining. Receivers are divas, Shep. You know that.
Yeah.
No, John Morton. Stick to just do what you're doing, but do it better. Maybe soften teams up, go over the top, use Amon-Ra more, and then you got that. Then J-Mo is going to come open, and then Laporte will be open, and Gibbs will be good out of the backfield. Work on matchups. Get Gibbs, flex him out more, get him on, make a backer go wide with him sometime or something. I don't know, but I don't like when we feel that we need to incorporate some guy here or there more.
Help me with this. J.J. McCarthy was good enough last week to win the game. He threw 2 touchdown passes right in front of another.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Right. Threw for what? 143. Right. Yeah. He made 3 really good throws, maybe 4 overall. He came out yesterday and talked about himself in the third person. And he turns into somebody else.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did. He calls himself. This is serious. He calls him a different name. Trent's going to play you this because I wasn't sure if you've heard it. But Trent's going to play you this. Yeah. Listen to this, and I want your reaction from it. This is J.J. McCarthy when asked if he turns into somebody else. Trent, go ahead and play.
Definitely a level of a switch that gets flipped. For me, it's, that I call him 9. 9 comes out, and I got to understand, okay, he can't be at his peak performance throughout 3.5 hours. So how do I find little ways, on the sideline, get back to my breath, get back to my visualization that could kind of maintain that intense, competitive stamina throughout the whole game. But yeah, it's just, the pure will, determination to get the job done.
Oh my God.
Hey, Lions fan.
Hang on. I'm going to throw up. Hang on. I'm going to vomit. Oh, my God. Are you freaking kidding me? Dude, you had 5 balls that if you throw any one of them decent, maybe the game's not that close, that you overthrew by 3 yards over the top of people. You looked like a rookie. Oh, my God, the 9 turn, whatever. Yeah, Tom Brady used to say that all the time, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe Montana used to say that. The kids now coming out, shut. Why? I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I want him to show me that he's going to be a quality NFL quarterback. I don't want to be given a title he's really good. No. Give me a couple years. Yeah. And then we'll talk about it. That's crazy. I mean, guys in the locker room, if he'd done that in my locker room with Keith Dorney would went to his locker and said, dude, shut up.
Yeah. Well, I hate to tell you this. There are other players who are now supporting it. And then you had an ESPN analyst actually say, this is a guy who played fantastic. He was injured, and he used his legs. He used his legs on 9 carries for 12 yards. You have these people actually calling
ESPN, which right now has no credibility. It's about like the officials in the NFL with me. The credibility level is pretty weak for ESPN. Yeah, Shep, you don't do that. Just play. He didn't play that. What game film did he watch? He ran and he made a really nice run. If Anzalone takes a better freaking angle, that never happens. He just kind of underestimated McCarthy's speed, I think. But it wasn't like he was just tearing him up. He was missing bodies that were open. Don't get me started. The Lions, the Vikings didn't beat the Lions with their offense. They beat them with their defensive scheme and slowing down the Lions' offense. They had 260 yards, 270 yards offense, the Vikings, I think.
Yeah, very few.
Lions did a good job. I thought defense overall played pretty well.
Yeah, not terrible. Well, did you watch the game?
No, good enough to win with this offense that we think they have.
Right.
We just didn't see it.
Did you watch the game last night?
It's hard to win, Shep. I tell you, it's hard to win. Look at the Broncos last night.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, they got lucky, but they kind of got lucky to win that game. They got a couple, good breaks in that game. Raiders basically kicked their butt for about 90% of that game. I mean, they had 5 3-and-outs. Come on.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It never thought Broncos will roll. The Raiders are disarray. They're 2-6 or whatever, 2-7. Broncos 7-2. Next great team. Bo Nix looks like Bo Diddley. They did not look good.
All right, give me. I agree with you, but yet they're 8-2 and undefeated at home, right? You don't apologize for wins, but you better make that. You better improve upon it. Yeah,
it was close.
Yeah, it was was a lot closer than I thought it would be.
The owners got what they want. They wanted parity. They got it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like 12 teams that you could literally say, yeah, if they get a run with it, they could win the Super Bowl this year.
No question.
There's like, by this time, it's like 4 or 5 teams.
Last thing from you. Last thing, Matthew Stafford, and rightfully so, is now getting mentioned as an MVP candidate. 21 touchdowns, only 2 picks. He's averaging 249 yards per game, second best in the National Football League. Is he one of the more underrated quarterbacks that you've seen, or am I going too far?
No, come on, Shep. You and I both have love for Matthew because what he did in Detroit, just horrible teams, and lined up every day, beat to hell. And he would still show up and give people their money's worth. He's not taking there's no load management in Matthew Stafford's repertoire. And he would play every Sunday, beat the heck, and would make some throws, and we'd watch him in practice and just go, oh my God. He was fun to watch because he was gifted. His physical skills are really, in his career, have been second to none. I mean, Aaron Rodgers in his prime, maybe, had the same physical skills. But Matthew, no, he's incredible. And with that team, they're scary. They have a defensive line that can
they're really good. Yeah.
They can run the ball a little bit, and they have, really good receivers. And Matthew's solid. He can make all the plays, all the throws. He can ad lib a little bit, still move enough to buy time. So, yeah, I think he's underrated. I think he has been for his whole career because he was pigeonholed on a crap team for 10 of his years.
Yeah. Well, we'll be for sure watching this weekend to make sure a lot of the things are corrected, and we'll talk next week. Have a great weekend, my friend. Say hi to Deb, and it's always good to visit with you on Bruins Brews.
Let's go get them this Sunday.
Yeah, let's hope it's a win and get to their 6th win of the season. Rob Rubik every week, brought to you by Ferris Coffee, brewed there in Grand Rapids, family owned for over 100 years, and the best coffee you will ever taste. The official coffee maker of the Detroit Lions. Our thanks to Hunter Patterson and Rob Rubik, and to you for joining us here on X's and Bros. We're back with